Welcome back to the Money Matters podcast. Today, I'm sat down with a man who has the most energy in the Bitcoin space, Adam Meister. How are you doing today, my friend?
I am great. Like this shirt, it's linked to below if you're watching this on my channel, maybe yours also. We'll talk about it in motion right here, baby. Bitcoin, baby. I'm on fire. I love it. I love it. It's great to talk to you again. Even when the haters try to do things against Bitcoin, and it will backfire. If you're a confident decentralist, let the haters hate, baby. The dude down in Mexico talking about the Shemitah, let him do what he wants to do. It's a shame that a lot of people turn their Bitcoin into a Neo or whatever they turned it into. It's a shame. That's a shame. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture, though. It's not his fault. It's your fault. You listen to schmo like that. All right.
People don't want to take personal responsibility, Adam. It's the age of the renunciation of personal responsibility.
Yeah, it's the new counterculture. I've been saying this that is the counterculture, and it's more and more. People want to just be like the board, let other people make their decisions. They want an 80-year-old man in the White House to make their decision. They want to hear about how the 80-year-old man is going to smack the 76-year-old fat man around. And that news is more important to them than the banks going under. And for all the people that say we're going to have hyperinflation, no, hyperinflation is a loss of confidence in the United States dollar. No, the schmoes out there will listen to the media and care about what an 80-year-old man smacks around a 76-year-old man, and he's the magical president with a affirmative action vice president. It's great, and everyone can be happy because a woman is vice president, and if the other guy dies, she gets to be president. But if the money's going to inflate. But the dollar is going to be the king of kings still amongst fiat. Because you know what? It's worse than Pakistan, and it's worse than India and Nigeria. The inflation is worse there. So how the heck is the United States dollar going to be hyperinflated? I want to know this. Seriously, how is we're going to have hyperinflation in the United States of America? How's it going to happen when in Nigeria it's worse already? And when in Pakistan, which you're going to have more people eventually than us, and Nigeria is going to have more people than us, and India already has many more people, when it's already worse there, and all the rich people in the United States just care about 80-year-old men smacking around 76-year-old men. How are we going to be, and we'll gladly listen to NBC and CNN that says the dollar is fine. Keep on buying your houses. Keep on buying your house. This new, they haven't even done the FedCoin yet. That they'll be able to do negative interest rates with that. And you will be guilted into taking the FedCoin by NBC, CBS, everything like that. And perhaps some social media sites, you will not be able to speak against FedCoin. That's a long way before hyperinflation, people. There's so many things that would have to happen for us to have hyperinflation. So I'm not saying the dollar is good, but I'm just giving you guys an alternative out there. Bitcoin is freaking awesome now. It can be freaking awesome just in a world where inflation is normal in the United States. Inflation is now normal in the United States. Get that through your heads, people. So don't keep your money at a bank. It's going to be inflated away. It's lousy valuing your wealth in dollars. And you have CNN telling people to buy bonds now because interest rates. I mean, this is the craziest things you ever heard. But they will do it. They will continue to do it. The example has been set. People more and more are giving up their own authority. They love it. They love being part of a group. One of my sayings is be a unique beast. Be a unique beast in the bigger community of the world and be willing to say, no, this CBDC thing, you're a worshiping slave. I will talk about it, even if I get banned from YouTube or whatever. But at the same time, in the Bitcoin community, if everybody's saying, oh, and I'm not saying everybody's saying this, but there are a lot of people that will just have this reaction if you say, well, there's not going to be hyperinflation of the dollar and the dollar is going to remain the world reserve currency. They'll say, no, you're not a real Bitcoiner. I'm part of the Bitcoin Inquisition. Go away. No, if the people want to believe in hyperinflation, let them. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt me. Again, confident decentralists. Live decentralization in your confidence too. Other people can say different things than you. Seriously, it's fine. If people want to say my people of my religion are part of some banking conspiracy, which many people like to say that because they're insane, let them say that. I don't care. It doesn't matter at all. They think my people of my religion are part of a banking conspiracy with Rothschild, magical Rothschild. Yeah, when you've been talking about Rothschild, I'd be becoming a millionaire and traveling around the entire world. So it's awesome. All right, so let's continue.
I do want to talk about traveling all around the world, especially because you are a pretty busy man. But I want to first hear more about this Balaji Srinivasan bet the billionaire who's betting millions of dollars on Bitcoin, he's saying we're going to get hyperinflation in the next 90 days. You don't sound like that's going to happen in the US, Adam?
No, that was really good that you brought that up. And we weren't planning. You didn't tell me we were going to talk about that. We didn't plan anything. I love this. I love it. Shows. I don't plan it. I don't plan a darn thing. I just talk from my gut, baby, from my heart, from my brain, all combined. No, he's a smart dude. I think he's very wealthy. It's a horrible bet. In the next 90 days, he sounds like a maniac that's just trying to get these guys, the clickbait guys that I've seen year after year, Jim Rickards and all these gold is great, gold is, everyone's going to be doing everything in gold. It's just as ridiculous as that. No,
well, he's launching a new podcast. Well, he's actually just launched a new podcast. So you mentioned clickbait. I think it has a little bit to do with that, if I had to be honest here on the podcast, Adam.
And I also think that, but I think better of him than that. I think better of him than that. To do a cheap gimmick. Why doesn't he just get a girl from Playboy to wear a bikini? Are there still girls in Playboy, or are they men now? Because man's a woman. I mean, didn't Playboy have a guy that was and some of these guys, they're so desperate, they will say that's a woman, and if that fake woman starts telling them about to buy Neo, they'll do it. There are plenty of people on the internet who do it, or buy Hex, or buy whatever. Richard Hart could hire the guy in Playboy who's pretending to be a woman to say buy Hex, and they'll do it. Some of these guys out there, guys, value your wealth in Bitcoin, not like a woman saying hi to you. It's pathetic. That guy who got arrested in Romania, what's his name?
Tate.
Tate. Yeah, he did a horrible thing. He took advantage of desperate men. But he realized that you can make a business off of these desperate schmoes. These desperate schmoes listen to anybody with confidence. And so there's a lot of guys like that talk. I'm not saying I went on a bit of a tangent here. The guy in San Francisco is not that. He's not like a crazy. He's not like that. But I'm just saying we got so many impressionable people out there. It's so sad. But in the end of the day, it's your fault for being an impressionable schmo that you will listen to someone like Andrew Tate. Or you just get a little bit of a tingling below the belt because a woman that's really a man is talking to you on the internet, and you're paying $500 an hour, and it's really a man. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. But again, yeah, if he wanted to, he could do it a lot of different ways to do clickbait. He could, and many of which are just crazy that I just said. But I don't exactly. I think he must really sort of believe it. It's not going to happen. Dude, if it's less than 90 days now, okay? Like in 80 some days, if that's what's going on in the world, the world would be a lot different. And again, I just gave you all the reasons why there isn't going to be why I believe there's not going to be hyperinflation. Now, of course, I also said beforehand, walk the walk and talk the talk. He's walking the walk. Was he putting up $1 million? I mean, so he's not just theory for him, but $1 million to him is a bit different than $1 million to the rest of the Bitcoiners out there. So I find this, and he shouldn't be let off the hook in 90 days when we don't have hyperinflation. We still haven't doubled the price of to get out of a bear market. The first sign is that you double the bottom price. And we hit the bottom about November 20th, which was around, 15,500. So we haven't gotten past anywhere close to 31,000, but we got to close to 29,000. But not. So for one step at a time, dudes. I don't think we'll get to like 31 or 32. 32 will be safe. You can say at 32, you can say, guess what? We're not going back to 15.5 this cycle. We're just not doing it. But last time it took from November of 2018 to June of 2019. So why not June of this year, which isn't that far away? And again, be patient. Patience is a virtue. I'm not saying Bitcoin's ever going to be $1 million, by the way. It doesn't need to be $1 million. It really doesn't need it. I think we'll get to the 6-digit realm eventually, but let's just take it one step at a time. Let's not talk about 7-digit realm here. And he's got his reasons. And he's saying, I took a bold step when COVID came out and I warned people about it. And that did a lot of good, didn't it, dude? You set up all these Bitcoiners, and I thought he was one of them. All these Bitcoiners who, again, in December of 2019 and January of 2020, they were talking about this virus in China. They were talking about it. They're like, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. Okay. And then it happened. It did spread. And then people panicked. People panicked just the way they said they should. People overreacted, man. It killed old people. Okay, dude. But some of these Bitcoiners, they just wouldn't let it go. They were like, the government's got, it was so shameful. Now, I don't know how much government intervention he was crying for, if any, at that time. But he's proud of the fact that he was one of the guys that scared people about virus, that people got so freaking scared about, that Bitcoin crashed to like 3,900 on March the 13th of 2020. He's proud of that he played a role in that. And then I was able to get 2 Bitcoin for $10,000, a little bit over $10,000 at that time. And those are 2 of the proudest Bitcoin, two of the Bitcoin I'm proudest of. The two that I'm proudest of owning, actually. But I mean, no, you really shouldn't be using that as a point of why I should be like, yeah, it's great that he's predicting a $1 million hyperinflation, Bitcoin or whatever. That's great. I should listen to you because you scared the living Jesus out of people and set the tone for all these other Bitcoiners and other people to panic. And all the Bitcoiners who are proud of the fact that they predicted that COVID was going to be a big thing. And then they also begged for government interference. You have nothing to be proud of. You should be ashamed of yourselves that you scared people, and then you begged for your thing to be even more right. To be like, ooh, not only was I right, there was a virus, but now you see, look how big it is. They're making such a huge, big deal of it. And people, please, government, make a bigger deal of it, so I can seem so right, and I can gain clout on. When you were gaining clout on the social media, and I was getting kicked off of YouTube for talking about. When I was kicked off of YouTube on April 1st of that year, I was also, I bought those 2 Bitcoin for cheap, so I was becoming wealthier. So you got your clout, I got wealthier. I got kicked out of YouTube for 3 months, but I did come back on. And
what got you kicked off, Adam? What got you kicked off?
It was on April the 1st, and I did a video on. It was an April Fool's type of video, and I used to have fun doing these April 1st videos. And I was in Los Angeles at the time, and I said I just run down. A little bit south of where I was on La Brea. I was near Santa Monica and La Brea in an Orthodox Jewish neighborhood, and which is right near us, which is right near a gay neighborhood, West Hollywood. It's weird, but I ran south, and things were, it was April 1st already. Things were locked down. Kids were roaming around in bikes and just like acting up. And I said on my show that these kids, they should keep doing this. I want them to scare people, and things are becoming out of control. It's becoming like, not like the end of the world, but Mad Max. But they got to go to the neighborhoods with the suburban women. And I'll ride my bike with them, I said. I'm like, get on your bikes and ride. I quoted a Freddie Mercury, who is much beloved in West Hollywood, of course. But, and and part of the title was, when are we going to have a riot? I think I said that in the title. I said that in the video. And of course, this ended up being less than 2 months before there was a riot in the neighborhood that I was in the place I had run through with some of the people who were on their bikes. But YouTube didn't like that I said. I don't know what part they didn't like that I said, that riot, or I don't know what they didn't like. Something was triggered. I was immediately banned. I mean, there was no appeal. I had no strikes on the channel at the time. And I was, all my videos disappeared, and I did not have all of them back up at the time. Over 1,000 videos. There was only one video I really wanted back from a video I had made like the day after my father had suddenly died. I made a video. There was a time I was making videos every single day about Bitcoin, and that was still during the streak, actually, when I got kicked off in April the 1st of 2020. And I really regretted, I didn't really talk about it that much during the show because I had a backup channel. I kept on doing shows. But I was worried I was never going to get that video back. And I did want that one specific video back. And it took 3 months. I had to go through some back channels. But just right away, YouTube reinstated my channel when I got through the back channels. And then eventually, They said I appealed and they rejected my appeal, but they and so there's like a constant. It's crazy. It was really weird. What ended up happening? You could tell one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing there on YouTube. So, but they've gotten better with the kicking you off for saying certain words. You could not say the name of the virus. That's why I call it the virus, because you could not say the name of the virus. It's just part of how I did. I knew not to say. I'm not even going to say the word now. I still won't say it. I just call it the virus because you couldn't call it by its other name, or you would get a. I mean, the artificial intelligence would immediately detect it, and you would get a strike or something. Apparently, I mean, it was crazy. But yeah, BitChute. I'm on BitChute. You can go back to around April the 1st of that year, and it is up there on BitChute. You can watch the show in question. I'll link to it below. I'll send you the link to get people
Please do.
watching. Yeah, because what I did do when I made the show, and when I made the show, I immediately downloaded it, as I usually did with shows around that time period. But I didn't used to do that in 2018. And that's why I thought I lost that one show. But like it was within 2 hours of making the show, they had gotten rid of my channel. They just got rid of my channel. so it's unbelievable. And yet I predicted there were going to be riots in Los Angeles, which there were. Which I mean, it was crazy. But yeah, what an interesting time. And everyone's like, oh, just forget about it now. Yeah, I would. People try to cover up. Now I don't. There are some people that I used to have on my show that I no longer have on my show anymore because they were such weak-handed people. And I don't name their names. People can figure it out on their own. And some of them have since changed their tune back to like it never happened or something. It's pathetic. People's memories, pathetic.
I couldn't agree more. Imagine if we had hyperinflation in the next 90 days. Imagine how scared those weak-handed socialists would be. Adam, I want to ask you a little bit about your travels. You are always traveling all around America, and obviously if hyperinflation did happen, would that affect your mindset on traveling and being a little bit of a nomad?
Well, we have to go back to two things. You're absolutely correct about traveling around America since I've been out of the country since when I was in Australia, in Adelaide in 2019. You know Australia well. But I do want to go back. And the reason I haven't is because, all these countries didn't let, everybody shut. It was ludicrous. It was just, and it's still a pain in the butt to get into certain countries to get back into America. It's really, but I took advantage and really saw more of America than I planned to see. But if we had actual well, let's talk about two things. I believe that inflation is going to be constant. So is that something that plays a role in my mind when I'm traveling around the United States? That we're going to have, that inflation has been constant. The last year, inflation has been constant. Has that played a role with me? It angers me when I see the gas prices. I don't like seeing that. But I have Bitcoin. I value my wealth in Bitcoin. So I know I still have as much Bitcoin as I have. I try to keep my dollars in the bank as low as possible to live off of. Because of inflation, they keep raising rates. So that would, in theory, prevent me from taking out, getting free getting cheap dollars. So that plays a role in my life, but I was able to figure out a way to get cheap dollars, as I mentioned on one of my recent shows, because some of these big banks are still offering incredible deals for all those people that hate the big banks, because I guess they have so much money and they're on such the friendly side of government regulations. They're still giving out interesting deals to people. So, inflation makes me, when I have to deal with fiat, I have to think about the interest rates and such like that. But again, my savings is all in Bitcoin, and it gives you more conviction that you really see the inflation happening, and you see, at least with the current administration, that the government spending is not ending. And as long as the government spending, which is just money printing, if that just keeps continuing, we're going to continue to have inflation. So, does it now? If we had hyperinflation, this is a theory again. This is all theoretical. I don't believe we're going to have the dollar is going to hyperinflate. Well, we could talk about what it would be like to travel to a country that had hyperinflation. That's very interesting. But if the dollar hyperinflated,
dangerous.
No, traveling would be. I would have Bitcoin. Everybody at that point, Bitcoin would be a lot more people want Bit because the world reserve currency would be gone. Dollar would be trash. What type of world? We've never had a world where the world reserve currency started hyperinflating. We've never been. So that bodes very well for Bitcoin. And I think that's why a lot of Bitcoiners are like having these dreams about it happening. They just wanted that. But it involves a lot of chaos also. So traveling around the world in a hyperinflated state when I have a good amount of Bitcoin is probably pretty good, except when you go to the countries that are lawless. Like I wouldn't go to Russia because if someone recognized me, they would try to kill me to try to get my Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean that would affect my travel schedule. There's there's certain things in the world, making myself a person that's been known to own Bitcoin. I probably will never travel to Russia because there are some sketchy dudes there who are technologically oriented, they just want cold, hard cash. And if, they could figure out a way to make up a conference that didn't exist and invite me to speak at it and kill me. And yeah, that's sad. But that, whatever, I gave up Russia. It's a big deal. But that would be taken to a new extreme under hyperinflation. I had to be more careful because I've already put myself out there. But the cool thing is, again, most people don't know who the heck I am. Most people know who like Richard Hart is and all these people that talk about, like girls wearing a bikini and, all this nonsense. So they're a great buffer for me. It's just like the Bitcoiners who hate on the altcoins and the ICOs and all that stuff. I was like, these things are buffers to Bitcoin. Like the government will take this stuff out before they attempt to take out Bitcoin. And Elizabeth Warren is getting closer to the target now, but you still see, the DeFi is a target for some of them. The exchanges, the Sam Bankman-Frieds, they're not on target with the real. They couldn't take out Bitcoin, but at least they're distracted. So I have no problem with the altcoin scam YouTube channels that again, when I started making videos consistently in 2015, okay, there were no altcoin channels. Such a thing did not even exist. Ty Zen was talking about altcoins a little bit. I guess he owned his trading channel and stuff. But but now it's, there is altcoin this, altcoin that, and just every flavor of the month will, they'll pay someone off to talk about them. It's a thriving ecosystem of bribery and crap coins, and I have really seen a lot come and go, and let them do what they're going to do because they do. It's the 80%ers they get a jolly out of it. The 80%ers get a jolly out of Joe Biden too. You're entitled to get your jollies any way you want it, but they serve as a buffer. If you're intellectual, it keeps out the dredge from the highfalutin Bitcoin sites, I guess. Elite, baby. I always say hello, my elite friends on my channel. If you found my channel, you're pretty much elite at this point because I'm not an algorithm slave. What the YouTube algorithm pumps out is what the common person wants. What the common person wants is someone to say, this is how you're going to get rich. This is the altcoin flavor of the month. And this girl's hot. But she's really a guy. All right. So, yeah.
Hey, nice rhyme. Very nice rhyme.
Vault, TECHBALT. Follow me there. And you can see, sure enough, I said, don't be impulsive. Don't buy a $50,000 car right now. Bitcoin is $420. Spend $10,000, buy yourself 23 Bitcoin. And there have been times when since then, there have been times that 23 Bitcoin has been worth $1 million, over $1 million. Needless to say, I bought some Bitcoin, obviously, and 2016 is really when I went hardcore. I just like basically emptied my bank account in 2016, most of it, and it was I went all in Bitcoin in 2016, but 2014. I was good enough to become a millionaire at that point. I was hypothesizing it that I was, and it was great that day, September 17th or whatever day it was. I was wearing Orioles shirt as I went to the Oriole game day. I clinched the AL East against the Toronto Blue Jays that day, the first time they had clinched the AL East since 1997 at that point. And Orioles have been bad ever since after 2016. So a lot of you were like, the Orioles came in first in 2014. Yeah, dude, they were awesome. They were like the best freaking team back then. So a lot has obviously changed. So much so that how old were you when I made that video in 2014?
Oh, I would have been, oh, geez, maths is hard. I think I would have been 18.
Okay, yeah, I can do it too. How old are you now? I mean, just as you subtract 9 from how old, it was 9 years ago. I mean, a little less than 9 years ago. He was just a kid then, people. Now he talks. He talks at events. So there's no excuse. He had plenty of time. He went from being a kid to talking at events in that time. So I've heard every excuse in the book since back then. Every excuse in the book. But it's really not even that funny anymore because these gold bugs have been talking the same stuff for since I've been 18 and before I was born, in fact. And it's insane. Some people will never. People could talk a good game. There's got to be a point in your life, people, where you walk the walk, baby. There's got to be a time when you go all in. And there's a lot of libertarian people out there. They just love to discuss theory after theory after theory after theory. I'm not about theories, dude. Let's real life, baby. Let's real conviction. Have some conviction. Having a theory isn't conviction, baby. And it's paid off nicely. But it's been a long time, and I can't say these are early days anymore. A lot of people are like, these are early days. I remember what it felt like to be a newbie. I was like, oh, there have been people in this since like 2011. And by the time it was 2016, I realized like, I'm one of the oldest. I've been here longer than a lot of people. But no real excuse anymore. The big banks are into it. All sorts of people are into it. Elizabeth Warren fears it. We had nothing like that in 2016. Nothing. I've seen it go from weird alternative websites. I mean, some of the weirdest stuff you've ever seen out there in economics. Some of these maniacs down in Mexico, talking about who eventually the guy down in Mexico started talking about the Shemitah and started believing Roger Ver had the real Bitcoin. I mean, this guy it was a disgrace. You guys know who I'm talking about. No, most people don't know who I'm talking about because they just haven't been around that long. But if you know who I'm talking about, you better be rich by now. Anyway, let's or else you've just been like theoretically like, oh, maybe Roger Ver is right. Maybe I should worry about what Anarchapulco's saying. Yeah, okay, yeah.
There's lots of those types. Huh? There are lots of those types. I was at Anarchapulco in Mexico only a couple of months ago, and it was shitcoin at heaven.
I just made an allusion to the person who put it on. That's who I was ripping. But a complete. He's got his issues. In 2016, he was talking about the Shemitah. He interpreted something from the Old Testament and said that basically the end of the economic world was coming around Rosh Hashanah of 2016. And of course, nothing happened around Rosh Hashanah of 2016. But no one remembers that the guy said something totally insane and made viral videos about it. But then he said Roger Ver was right, and what he said Neo or one of those altcoins was a great altcoin. No, it wasn't Neo. Sorry, it was another one with a short name. I've seen them all come and go. All these altcoins. Neo was supposed to be the next Bitcoin. Let me tell you something. Pound that like button. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. I think Crypto Shirts Plus made this shirt for me. This not made it for me. They made good shirts though, and they'll make it for you too. So
that's dope. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one, Adam.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, it's CryptoShirts.plus. I'll link to it below. It's cool. It's kind of got Greenpeace made a Bitcoin symbol that looks all deadly and scary because they're trying to scare people away from Bitcoin. I think it's a skeleton, but in fact, people have embraced this Greenpeace thing, and it doesn't look exactly like this, but this reminds me of that. So,
Adam, I'm getting the 2-minute warning from Zoom over here. So maybe we can finish on a rapid fire question, and I can ask you, what's your favorite country you've traveled to and your favorite state? in the US, and then you can tell the people where they can find you and tell them where they can find your amazing YouTube channel.
Well, I'm a TechBalt on Twitter, TechBalt, BitcoinMeister on YouTube. My favorite state that I'm going to spend a lot of time in soon is, well, major city in the United States I like is Salt Lake City. Favorite state, Florida. Favorite country that I've traveled to. Guys, hate to tell you all, but the best country to be in during the virus, the most freedom was the United States of America, because we had 50 different options. We did not, we don't have a centrally controlled government. People of America do not give more central authority to the federal government. That is the lesson to be learned here. We are the most decentralized country out there, the United States of America. So I would have used to say, like, I love Israel, I love Australia, but they really got tight, man. I was shocked, what their federal governments, what centralized governments can do. And we must keep 50 states. We must keep it decentralized. Bitcoin sets that example for the world, what true decentralization is. It is freedom. And the founding fathers, that's what they wanted. They did not want this all-encompassing federal government that said we have one culture, we have one way, we have one. No, where the country isn't breaking apart. We have many different cultures. We are decentralized. So people, don't panic when they say the United States of America is breaking apart. It isn't. We can have nullification. States can just say, no, we're not going to do it this way. They can do it that way. We can feel comfortable. We can be confident. And we can still share the same nuclear arsenal to protect us, just in case aliens invade or China does, or whatever may happen one day. We can still have a loose federal confederation that's our flag should just be the stars and the stripes and the nuclear weapon there, just so they know, okay, we're going to do things 50 different ways, maybe 50 different stripes, but we've got the nuclear weapon to protect. That's our protection. That's what they wanted. They wanted the federal, it was to protect from outside invasion. So best country still is, I learned the lesson the hard way, but I'm still alive here. And yeah, there are some authoritarian states that when we do have another, whatever the next thing is, be it a virus or whatever they come up with, there will be states that are better. Florida is a great example of a state that you want to be in the next time around. Utah probably also, but Salt Lake City is beautiful during the summer. And so I enjoyed it a lot there. I don't know if we got kicked off yet. You can keep asking me questions or whatever.
I think that's a beautiful note to end it on, Adam. Bitcoin is freedom money, and America is still the freedom country of the world. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend. That was an absolute blast.
Get the shirts. They're linked to below. Thank you. Pound that like button.